we took nothing for granted. But then obviously to see your streak away in the home straight, you still, when you're watching it at the time, you don't believe that it's happening. I'm like, until you cross that line, I'm not taking anything for granted. When you see that there's a European Championships just across the road really in the Netherlands, then you want to be part of it. You want to be part of those relay teams. My first experience of Europeans Championship itself was the under-20s in Grosseto. And looking back now, like it at the time it felt like the be-all and end-all, but like really it was just the start, and it was such a great place to make a platform for yourself. And I went through the rounds there, made the final, ran a national record, and the crowd there, like there was a stand on the home straight and they filled it and they were so loud, the Italians, and they had a great team spirit, and we had a great team spirit too. Everyone really got along, and definitely that championships, set me up for the future, because then, just the next year I was straight into the European Senior Champs in Berlin. Just as, a young boy, I was out in the heats, but it was such an experience then to go from the under-20s to the following year into the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, full house. And from there were under-20s, and then more European Seniors, World Championships as well. And then it almost leads up to, as I said, was nice breaking national under-20 records at the under-20s and then getting some experience at senior level. But then you want to really get a taste of some silverware then, and would have been delighted with a medal in Rome, but then to come away with a gold was something else. World Champs and Olympics that's when you grow up and you believe that you can do it, you're dreaming of you can do it, but you never know, is it actually going to happen? But like, I just stuck to it year by year. I set my goals of different goals, but every year I'll sit down and look at the next major champs, and I'll work back from there. Me and my coach will sit down and we'll do a plan, months and months in advance of how we can get there at our best as well. How can we perform well in the months leading up to make sure we qualify and also make sure we're in a good position there. So, and it's been busy as well, trying to juggle the individual and the relays at these kind of champs as well, with the mixed relay. For example, in Oregon was two heats and finals on the same day, and then it was back for the individual right after, and it was the same in Budapest. It was mixed relay heat, mixed relay final, and then the next morning was the 400 meter heats. But you're not going to complain when you have a schedule like that. It's a privilege, really. That's how I see it. And we train almost every day of the week anyway, so if I'm running back-to-back days, I'm not going to be making excuses. Well, it all started, probably the mixed relay was on a journey when the World Relays in 2021. Well, actually we had a plan to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics in 2020 itself, and we thought we had this great plan to qualify for Tokyo, and then that obviously didn't happen, and then it got pushed back a year, so we almost spent a year wondering, will the Olympics go ahead? And then we went to the World Relays, which was in Silesia at the time, and we got a team together, our best 4 athletes at the time, and then we qualified for the Olympics, which was just like the most amazing thing ever. But then that was all well and good qualifying, and then we got to the Olympics. We said, right, what can we do here? Little old Ireland are probably expected to be at the back of the pack, or making up the numbers. But we got into the final then, and that was another dream come true, you could say. And then on from then, it was the following year World Champs, we made the final again, and the following year World Champs, we made the final again. So we were going to take nothing less than another successful year, which meant obviously at the start of the year we had to get through the World Relays, which is just about making sure we can qualify for the Olympics. It's early in the season, so we got a little bit of practice there, but it can be tricky because we're all based in different locations. So for Rome itself, it was pretty much on the week of where we got together as a team and done some practice at the training tracks. But we're very confident in ourselves. We've all ran in those previous years. The team had athletes come in and out of the team, so all of us have ran the mixed relay before Rome, so we've all ran with each other before. So it was nothing too different, and we all went in with a lot of belief in each other. So I wouldn't say we needed a whole lot of practice And then it was just about, getting the baton round because we know the talent that we have. Try obviously to get the most out of our changeovers as well, which our coaches work on. When we have so much belief in ourselves and as a team of what we've achieved in the years previous, then as I said, we were making, finals quite comfortably, but we wanted that medal and then we got it. So Rashida, when she was winning medals a few years ago at underage, that was a big inspiration to me, a big inspiration to all of us. And she's shown, what's possible for Irish athletes to be competing. So while it's inspirational to have her on as a teammate, it's also like I want to do the best for her. She wants to do the best for us. So we're very much a team of four at the end of the day. It's great to work with her, and the first time she ran on the mixed relay was in Oregon when she helped us get to the final. So it was nothing new for her either. And she ran many relays, for example, at the NCAAs. We had no worries, coming in, where if she missed the previous year, it wasn't going to be an issue of a lack of practice or whatever, because although she's young, she's so experienced. And obviously my job is on first leg to give her the best, give it to her in the mix, really, in the best position possible. It's different to an individual race where I do feel like I've got a little bit of a connection to this team, where I've been on it for so many years, so many different competitions year after year after year.
Irish quartet of O'Donnell, Adeleke, Thomas Barr and Charlene Maudsley.
And I do feel like and the country was really buying into what we were doing, making Olympic finals and world finals. They did really get behind us. So I felt like I was doing it for them, and I feel like when I go on the first leg, there's a little bit extra responsibility. It feels like we need to get a good start here. Certainly don't false start. That would be one thing that I'm saying. So thankfully, touch wood, that's been going well so far. Long may it continue. But I need to, while it can be, you can get caught up in the excitement of the relays and trying to, predict where we can finish at the end of the race. You can do all the times and add up team splits and see where you might finish, but at the end of the day, everyone has to go out to perform, so it's a waste of time, really. So I just need to go out and do my leg, my individual 400. That's what I practice day in, day out. So while the stagger is different and it can be tricky, it's a little bit of a different race plan. For example, in Rome, I was way out in lane 7 or lane 8, and when you do that in a 4x4 with the stagger, you actually run way past the finish line. So you have to bear that in mind with your tactics. So I get to the finish line and there's actually quite a bit to go until I get to the changeover zone. So I need to just slight alteration in tactics, but at the end of the day, just run my own 400-meter race. I used to run last leg. I was last leg in Tokyo, and then they changed the mixed relay where the female now runs last leg. And I feel like it's much worse to watch going first because you just can't control it. Whereas if you're running last leg, and even if I got the baton in last place, I'll miraculously believe that I can overtake everybody. But now I can't do that. I can't affect it. So I'm just there praying and that these guys get it round, and so nervous. It really is true when people say that it's worse watching than it is competing. Like, I was grand competing, even before the race. I'm chilled and I'm relaxed, excited. There is a bit of nerves, of course, but that's all good. Watching the guys go round one by one, Rashida gets to the 200-meter mark on her leg, takes the lead, and then you're hoping she stays there.
Rashida Adeleke, in the space of about 50 to 100 metres, has taken Ireland up from about 4th to 1st. It's going to be Ireland that hand over in first place. Adeleke giving the baton over to her compatriot Thomas Barr. Thomas Barr, hugely experienced.
Tom is up against, Alexander Doom, who we all know the quality he has, but he still gives us in a really ideal position.
Thomas Barr having an outstanding leg, really dipping deep. But it's going to be Belgium who take over going into the last leg. Charlene Maudsley right up on the shoulder of the Belgian.
Charlene, who we knew as well from previous years what she can do in a relay. So if you can give it to her in the top 3, then we've got a really good chance. As I said, we would have been delighted with a bronze medal before the race, but we also believed deep down that we could win. There were some good teams in there. The Dutch team were probably expected to win. the Belgians, you know, as well, Italians.
So it's still the Belgians leading the way at the moment. It's Belgium, Ireland and Italy. Well, this certainly hasn't gone to the script. Femke Bol, long way
It was going
back.
to be really competitive, and we were by no means guaranteed of a medal at all, so we took nothing for granted. But then obviously to see her streak away in the home straight, you still, when you're watching it at the time, you don't believe that it's happening. I'm like, until you cross that line, I'm not taking anything for granted.
Helena Ponette, but now Charlene Maudsley coming round on her shoulder. She's going for probably getting the medals. She's overhauled Belgium, but it's Ireland gold. Ireland take the inaugural mixed 4x400 metres gold medal. What an upset, what a surprise.
And then it happened, and you know, we had fans right there at the finish line who I think jumped over a few seats to get there. And to celebrate with them was pretty cool.
It's Ireland's first gold at these championships since 1998.
And I was close to the Irish commentary team as well, and when David Gillick was there, 400-metre man himself, he was going mental.
Yeah, everyone was going mental, but yeah, and it's great to interview David after a race, because he's been there, he knows exactly what you're going through, and especially as a 400-metre runner, he knows how it feels. So if we're a little bit tired, he'll go easy on us, because he knows he knows the feelings. But by then we had a few celebrations, on the track, so we were well recovered. Yeah, well, not quite for the athletes, for the parents and for the fans. I believe they did last long to the night, if not into the week. I was on the very next morning. Only celebrations we did really was go down to the local McDonald's, because by the time we got back to the hotel after all the interviews, a few massages and things like that, it was 1 or 2 in the morning, if not after, and obviously dinner was shut, so our only choice was to go down to the McDonald's. And I wouldn't say we were partying or anything like that. We still had our own individuals, but we got a lot of inspiration. And I certainly wasn't partying. I was up the next morning for the heats, but I was there trying to sleep, and I couldn't sleep. It wasn't happening. And as I said, it wasn't a case of me going out and partying. I was in the room, lights were off, phone was off, but I was buzzing. And my alarm was set, I think, for 8 a.m. to get up and have breakfast, go to the heats. And I fell asleep at 7 a.m. and I got 1 hour sleep. And in the end, the heat went well. But that was just a living off pure adrenaline. And it's something that you can only do when you have such adrenaline. I was riding a wave of, when you start a competition on day one like that, you're on such a wave. And I didn't want that wave to crash. And I kept going, took that from there into the semis, into the men's 400 metres as well. And to be fair, by the end of it, I did crash, but while I was in Rome, I was on such a high, and it never came down. Yeah, I did see the video. To be fair, it looked like I might have stepped on the line once or twice, and you learn from that. But at that stage, it was tired legs. That was my 3rd day in a row, and you could still count the amount of sleep I had on one hand, because even when I'm going home after the heat and you think, right, I didn't sleep well the night before, can I get a little nap in here? No, we have a medal ceremony to go to, and that's almost even more of a high than the night before. You're listening to the national anthem and the emotions that you get from that. You're seeing the people who supported you on the way, they're cheering, singing the national anthem with you. So sleep was the last thing I was thinking of at that stage. Yeah, we were talking about it before, will we cry, won't we cry? And I think we all said, yeah, we probably will cry. I think I did towards the end, a little tear. You're just thinking of probably the hard days as well, how hard it is to get there, to be on top of that podium. It's not easy. It's not a straightforward journey. There's ups and downs. And when you're up there, you're just thinking of how you got there, the people that helped you. And as I said, it's not a straightforward journey. There's hard days, there's good days, all the months and months of training that you put in, you dream of being on there, so you don't take it for granted. And I think they had to drag us off the podium in the end. It's a great source of inspiration. It shows you what I can do, what we can do as a team. And yeah, if I suppose on some of the hard days when you're wondering, is all this training worth it? As a 400-meter runner, we do put ourselves through the paces day in, day out, month in, month out. So probably on those days where you wonder, right, is it worth it here? Then it's a good thing to look back to, you know, have a look at the medal or whatever, and you'll go into training then the next day bouncing. Every night, I know. I'm still wondering of a place to put it, really. At the time I was carrying it around at the back of my bag. I could feel it and make sure, right, I could just put my hand at the back of my bag, right, it's there, it's nobody's stolen it yet. But I'm still gonna look for a nice place in the house for it. Yeah, I think are showing each other what can be done, so when one person does it, you can see that it's possible, but then you also get a taste of what's possible, and that sets the culture as well. Speaking from the mixed relay, where we've always been on day one, and I'd like to think all the times we've been successful on day one, we come back with a final in the bag, a national record in the bag, whatever it may be, top 6 finish, we're top 8 finish, top 6 finish, medal. We're going through the ranks, and we can kind of set the tone on day one of the camp, and we can come back and everyone's cheering, and there's just such a better mood in the camp. I'm not saying we're solely responsible for the rise in Irish athletics, but you can certainly see, like, the last gold medal we had was Sonia in 1998 at the Europeans, the year I was born.
Sonia O'Sullivan sprints for the line. It's a gold medal again for Ireland, for Sonia O'Sullivan, and what a night in Budapest.
And the next gold medal came around was us, and then you see Ciara wins in the 1500, a couple of days later. So they do tend to come around like buses, and it's definitely the culture, because I suppose when you have no one to really look up to, you wonder, is it just, oh, this is Ireland, this is what we are, this is what we're expected to be. If we're knocked out early, nobody cares, but now it's totally different. You want to be competitive, you want to be right at the top, you want to be in finals, winning medals, running super fast times, and we just feed off each other. For quite a few years there, we were definitely punching above our weight. We were kind of scraping into finals and, getting in by the last spot, getting in by a few hundredths of a second. And this time around, we just missed out. We were just on the other side of that. So while we made every single final up until Paris, you could say that it's not that our luck ran out or anything like that, but when we were scraping into finals, it's not easy to keep punching above our weight and keep punching above our weight. And in the end, if you add up the times of the four of us, that was where we were expected to finish, and also in previous years we were never really expected to make finals. So when we punch above our weight every time, we set the bar very, very high for ourselves, and this time we just fell short, but we'll definitely want to get back on track and back making global finals starting again from next year. But at the end of the day, it is probably where we were expected to finish, in all the world champs and Olympics previously, but in those times we really punched above our weight, and we always want more, but just this time wasn't to be. It's a very big target, of course it is. David's been very good to me, and as an inspiration, and as also someone to talk to as well after races, or whether it be through messages online. He's the first person to congratulate me if I have a good race, and I'm sure he'd love me to break the record. And it's something that obviously I'm training to do, and I want to do that. So it's definitely a target. You can get caught up on the numbers, 45 lows, sub 45s and all this, but I just need to get better each day really and see where that takes me. I got the 45.2, and you're looking, right, what's the next step? Is maybe that 44, and then once you get that 44, can you then look into the 44.7s of the Irish record, and then you're into very good territory then. So it's definitely, I won't be resting on any laurels in the next few years. It's class to look up to him, because when you're with someone every day, it shows that, again, it's possible what you can do. So Charlie was someone who, I'm almost getting credit now from a lot of people, because I was telling them years and years ago, right, watch this guy, he's going to be good, and they're all saying, well, he might be, I was saying, no, watch him, and now they're all coming back to me. They're saying, oh, you were right about him, because you could see the talent that he has, and he was unlucky with injuries there for a few years, and I just knew that whenever, we all knew, not just me, but whenever he gets an injury-free season, he just had one pretty much, an injury-free season. That's what he can do. So it's class to look up to him as a friend, and also as someone who is really, you know, when you win a Diamond League final, that's no mean feat. He's been the best of the best guys, and it shows that this guy right next to me, he can do it. He's paving the way, and then there's no excuse for you, really. I'm lucky enough to work with a very well-known sports psychologist in Ireland from my little village in Grange, actually, Caroline Curd. She'd be very well known in Ireland in sporting circles and amongst other things. So I'm very lucky to have her. And I've also got like my former coach, Roddy, who also acts as a mentor to me. He's back home as well. And I've got my family, my friends, my current coach. Yeah, there's staff in Loughborough as well. Even my physios. These are all people that I can lean on. And like, for example, yeah, you can go onto the physio bed and it can turn into whatever might be a gossip session or whatever, but you can get stuff out off your mind. And there's so many people that I can turn to and that I can listen to from back home, from back training, from all over the world. You know, when we traveled so much, I've made friends from a load of countries, and wherever I might be, they're never too far away. So I would say you can definitely make your circle small, but also it can be quite broad in terms of the people you can reach out to. I think it was the Munich Championships where I was out in the semi-finals, and I would have liked to have done a lot better in those championships. Like, as I said, there's ups and downs in the sport. There's very often more downs than ups. And, you know, it was after the Munich World European Champs where, you know, I met him in the hotel the day after, and, you know, we're just talking through things. What can I do better? You know, not to get too down about yourself, and, you know, those kind of things. Believe in what you've done, believe in the times that you've ran. You know, you're a good athlete, and that's the sort of stuff he'll be encouraging. And yeah, definitely mental health, of course, plays a huge part, because if you're going into training every day, whether it be stressed or have something on your mind, then that's going to take a little edge off your training performances, which then is going to lead to taking an edge off your competition performance. So you obviously want to go into training in the best headspace possible, and that's going to be as a result of what's going on in your life outside of training, because it's not so easy to go into training and park everything. You know, you can only sometimes do that for so long, but as a sport, we're literally training. We start training in October, and I'm not really looking to be competitive as in terms of fast racing until May, June time. So that's a very long time to be just training, and it's very, very hard training. And, you know, you take football, for example, or any other sport that's on every week. You've got a match to look forward to at the weekend. But in athletics, it's a very, very long road. That winter is a long winter, so you need to train hard, obviously, but then make sure you're in a very good mental space so you can do that training. If you look at my times, every single year there's a huge discrepancy between my indoors and outdoors. That's a combination of a number of things. Between, you know, my priorities, we very much put in a hard training all winter, so I can be ready for the outdoors. You know, I love the hot weather. I thrive in those kind of conditions. My stride length is quite a long stride, a long bouncy stride, and I don't really get the opportunity to get into the flow of indoor running, where it's very much get out fast, get to the front, a few elbows, and it's short, sharp, choppy. Whereas outdoors, I have my own lane, and I can kind of go through my tactics a little bit more, and that's what suits me more. And I know that, however, I still do turn up indoors, and on it I don't shy away from the indoor season. I still give it a go once or twice, and because I do know whatever I run indoors, the faster I go, the better I'm going to go outdoors. So that's definitely a target. Can I run faster indoors? Because I know if I do, I'll run faster outdoors. I've never been much of an indoor man, or never had huge amount of success indoors. I would like to change that. When you see that there's a European Championships just across the road, really, in the Netherlands, then you want to be part of it. You want to be part of those teams, and, you know, part of those relay teams. So yeah, I probably need to, you know, brush up on my indoor running a little bit if I want to make that team.